has put us here. We are here because we've been called by the Spirit. You are not here because you want to be here. You have been called because destiny has wanted you to be here. Let us stand for the suffering that's happening across this country. Let me first acknowledge the land in which we meet today. The land of the Gadigal people. The original people of this land. I want to acknowledge my elders, both past, present, and emerging, for their older memories, the tradition, and the oaths for the original Australians. I want to also acknowledge my brothers and sisters that comes from across the sea that now lives in Australia. I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. I had a conversation this morning with my grandson who lives up in Bourke. He said, "Pop, there's a storm coming today. Why are you going to the meeting?" Guess what I said? I said, "Grandson, you are looking at the storm." I want to say thank you to the great speakers, the freedom fighters, the true freedom fighters, and I am privileged to march and to stand with all you freedom fighters. We will no longer sit in the shadows of darkness. We will come forth into the light. We are the light. We will change the system that we live in. Why? Because we are the change. You are the change. We are the change. We are here because of our children and our future generations. Let us stand up. Let us fight the evil regime that are trying to oppress us and oppress us across the world. Stand up. Stand up now. We are here. We are not going to go away. Let's make a noise. Let's make a big noise. We need to remember the original people of this land. We need to now start to pay respect. We are the decision makers of our future. You're going to be a part of it. Everyone's going to be part of it. Australia is going to be a different nation. We all have to contribute. Every single one of you. We need to help our original people. We need to stop the genocide. We need to stop the incarceration. We need to stop the mining company. We need to stop the fracking of gas in our country. We need to stop the clearing of our lands. People, we need to stop the racism in this country. We need to stop the discrimination. We need to stop the apartheid. Stop the division. Let's unite as a people. Let's unite as a nation. If we are united, who's going to stop us? And you're not going to stop it. People are in a revolution. You are a part of the revolution. I say it is time. It is our time. Bring it on.
Thank you everyone for having me here in this time, in this space. I speak to you not as the physical person, not as the skin that you are. I speak to your heart, I speak to your soul. And I call and wish to share with you a vision of the most beautiful world that is possible. Not for us, not for your children, but their children, and their children to come. I invite you now just to close your eyes. We do this all together. Closing your eyes down. And as you take a deep breath, breathe into your heart. Breathe into your heart and see this vision, see this light. See this moment and feel it. Feel the moment of freedom. The moment of choice, of love, of unconditional love. See it. Who are you with? Who is by your side, hearing the sounds of the birds in the trees, the sounds of the children laughing as they play freely, the sound of laughter as you have and share a conversation and meal, wherever you are, whoever you're with, feeling that, bringing it into your heart, feeling the sun shining down on you, outside as you squeeze your toes into the earth, feeling it underneath as you connect in, bringing that into your heart, bringing this now. This is a world that we know is possible. It is happening right now. It is up to us to bring it forth to this moment, right here, within you. Be in truth, in compassion, be in love. As you come. Calling it in, calling it forth. This is waiting for us, and this is here, and this is now. You are here for a reason. You were born for this. Thank you so much.
We have a criminal, illegitimate corporation posing as our government that is seeking to push every man, woman and child into a dystopian nightmare of total control and slavery. And the time has come to sack them all and take our country back. Make some noise, guys. We're taking our country back. Every single one of us. We're taking it back. Every single one of us. Them all. Sack them all. Sack them all. Sack them all. Sack them all! Sack them all! Alright, I'm going to run out of time. I'll run out of time. There's a lot of speakers. We are a nation that fell asleep at the wheel. We have allowed the corrupted gangs of the World Economic Forum, the Rockefeller Foundation and the United Nations to infiltrate this country. Boom! And right now, this country is utterly infected with traitors and imposters who are acting at the behest of the United Nations and Big Pharma. And now, we find ourselves slipping into medical apartheid. Blinded people are allowing a new kind of discrimination to creep into this country. And these people call themselves Australians. Well, I ask them this: would an Anzac kick one of his mates out of a trench for not being vaccinated? No way. Or would this be the most un-Australian thing that someone could possibly do? Today is the day that we say no to medical apartheid in Australia. Today we are calling and demanding an end to this madness. Make some noise, guys. Make your voices heard. Come on, Sydney. No violent revolution is needed here. All that is needed is collective and peaceful non-compliance. That is all that is needed. I used to call myself a proud Australian, but the term proud Australian is on hold until the names of the 28 child predators are released to the Australian public. We've had enough. Come on, Aussie. All 28. How do we fix this mess? Firstly, stop injecting our people with poison. Number two, every single person in Australia must realise that this corporation here is a foreign power and has no legal standing and no place in this country anymore. The corporation has to go and all the cronies with it. Sack them all! Sack them all! Sack them all! What's this? I'm just going to wrap it up here, folks. I'm out of time. I've got a lot of things I wanted to say. When you are out there, be kind to your fellow Aussies. Many are coming out of a deep hypnosis. Many will be so deeply shocked when they realise what's been done to them and they will fall apart. But like any fellow Aussie on the battlefield, we will pick them up, we will help them to their feet, and we will rebuild this nation. We will start again. One last thing. This is not a battle between left and right. This is a battle between right and wrong. A battle between good and evil. And we may not win every battle, but we will win this war. And some people say we need to hold the line. Here's the thing. We are the line. We are the last line of Australians confronting this tyranny. And we will never surrender. One last thing. Jesus said, the meek.
A lot of respect for him, so put your hands together for Alan Hashem and Kathy. Thank you, Romeo. Look at this crowd! They're going to need bigger camps! Guys, my name is Alan Hashem. I'm just an average person like all of you. I stopped doing what I was doing, which was looking after my business, and went out with a news reporter from Channel 7 News, an ex-news reporter, Rita Risk. We reported on adverse reactions. They're rare, according to the government. They're not rare, they're just rarely reported. When we started the series, we got up to 1 million views in 1 week. We made international presence. Our voiceless victims were part of a Facebook group initially, before it was shut down by Facebook for censoring. How can you make informed consent when you can't even get access to the information? Our series put a big spotlight on us. We're living in the year of coincidences. The coincidences of fit and healthy athletes dropping dead. We're up to 100 so far and people are still asleep. Our voiceless victims of Our Voices Matter. When they went to the doctor, Michelle, 19 years of age, when they said to her, the vaccine is not related. You're disabled because your parents don't love you and you're doing this for attention. If you have not seen our series, there's a QR code on these signs. You'll see them out the back by the fountain. Scan them. Watch the series. Watch the lies and the deception. I have the honour of bringing Kathy on stage. Kathy's mum suffers dementia like my mum, and I know what that feels like. The moment they gave her the jab, she went paralysed, could not move. And Kathy's father was over her motionless body saying, "It's okay, Bella, don't cry." My heart shattered. And anytime you're thinking these vaccine injuries are rare, think again. I'd like you to all welcome Kathy on stage to tell her story.
You know, I'm just a regular Aussie just like you, but I come from an Italian family, so lucky they gave me a few minutes to talk. This is my mum's death certificate. 23 days after she got the first jab, she died. She's one of our victims. My mum mum is one of those women that they call collateral damage in this evil plan that we are part of right now. Each and every single one of us. And at the very beginning, I started to think, hang on a sec, this can't be from the jab. I was kind of going in denial. You know, that psychological thing that we as humans do, stick our head in the sand because we actually are too scared of what the truth actually is. But when I got this in the mail from my dad, and it states immunisation as her cause of death, I thought, wow, confirmed what I thought. So I wrote to our Prime Minister, Mr. Scott Morrison, it's okay, we need to pray for this man. We need to pray for his conversion of his soul, his darkened soul, so that he transfers to love, because we have a God who loves us. We have an Almighty Father, a Divine Father who loves us. So we are about love today. We must forgive. We must be merciful. We must love unconditionally. I rang to Scott Morrison and he sent me a letter in a nice gold foiled envelope, and I thought, this is a bit special. And Mr. Scott Morrison, in his apology letter, said he was sorry to hear about Mum's death. And in his letter he says that vaccine passports will not be made mandatory, will not be made compulsory. My personal letter. Now the reason I bring this up is because I want to talk about the white elephant in the room, where most people are not bold and brave enough and courageous enough to stand up for what is really happening on a global level. This is not about medical issue at all. These are not medical passports, that little green tick that you have on your phone, and we respect you. Whether you choose to be vaccinated or not, it's irrelevant. This plan is for each and every single one of us. This is a data passport. I've been following this agenda for 18 years now. When I was first made aware of this agenda, and I wanted to bury my head in the sand, but I'm seeing these theories unravel year upon year upon year. And this agenda does not have you in the best interest at all. Not me, not you. This agenda, and it's interesting because I used to think, yeah, you know, there are a bunch of conspiracy theorists. But what I've learned in my experience this last 18 years is that the difference between a theory, a conspiracy theory, and when it becomes a fact is about 4 to 6 to 12 months. That's the difference. So I want to stand here to you today and just share with you that this is not about medical at all. This is about a financial reset, because the financial currency is failing. Like everyone before us, there is a drive to get everybody vaccinated, because why would we need a passport? This is a financial decision from a global few. And history shows us that with every financial crisis, the debt has been reset to zero. This is why money is being printed and not banked against gold and silver. So in order to bring a central bank digital currency in, the end game is totalitarian control. Can't even say that word, but it's not good. So hence, the digital ID passports for everybody is a social credit system and a carbon credit system. We lose our privacy if we do this, and they will have total control over all of our finances and every aspect of our lives. They will dictate where you spend. They will dictate what goods you buy. They will dictate and they will fine you at will. It's about complete control. And when you link that to a social credit system concept, they can sanction or reward you, a little bit like a beer in the pub or a picnic on the rug with your mates. This is already being trialled in China, and you'll go from a AAA rating to a D. A AAA rating is a preference for jobs, your children for schools, and they can demote you to a D rating where they can take your qualifications off you. This is already happening in northern China, and it's coming for us. We're very close to this because of compliance, and they need everybody to buy into this. Now they're going to go down with starting to, get rid of the vulnerable, and now they're going for our children, and they need our children because they need data from the children to watch them and to control every single person. So all we need to do as Australians, as our wrap up, I told you I was Italian, I need a few more minutes. I'm going to wrap up now. They're coming for our children. Not for vaccination, that's just the next step in their plan. We don't need to be like our Anzacs where we lay our lives on the line for freedom. All we need to do is one word. Say no. No more. It is the most powerful word in the world, because when you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And together, we are stronger. We make a difference. And you are loved. So for my mum, who I know is looking down on us from heaven today, God bless each and every single one of you. I pray for you every day. God bless Australia.
We did it today! 30 people 5 years ago! Over 1 million people Australia-wide! We have done it! Right now, I've got the guy that's, to me, I know there's been a lot of people, especially Tay, Michael Sims, my loyal friend, we have stood next to each other for so long. I'm struggling to come up with words because this information I just received just shocked me. So, Michael Sims, the guy that I stood next to him 3 years ago, and I'm honoured to stand next to you. Come up here, bro. It's your turn. Sydney, make some noise! Yes. I'm a bit emotional. Who isn't after that? Put your hand up if you had a tear during that. It's been a long journey for me. With a vaccine-injured son, I always have to mention him in my speeches because he's why I'm here. And I think everyone, you're all here for your own personal reasons. It's good to stay true to that reason and what it is. Because they've tried to bribe us by locking us down, and we said no. They tried to bribe us by taking our jobs, and we said no. Well, what are they going to do? They can't touch me, they can't touch you. And my friends, my family, my work colleagues, they don't have my back. They watched me walk out of work on my last day, and they told me to get vaccinated so I could come back. But you know what? I know each and all you out there, and all these people, they got my back. And I've got your back. All you people that write to me, and write to Romeo, and write to Tay, and write to all of us, we'll do all that we can. But it's up to each and every one of you to have each other's back. And I think that starts by, these people are locking us out of their businesses. I ain't going back. Stop going to these businesses. Put your hand up if you're in the crowd and you run a small business. Have a look around. There's people here that can serve you, that are serving you. Stop the big corporations. We don't need them anymore. And I ain't got much else to say, but thank each and every one of you for coming out.
you put all this on. This stage, this sound was all of you. I may have got some offers from some people that I didn't want to take. That's okay, because we stay true to the cause. We are this. We will not be bribed and coerced just like the vaccine. No, we won't. So it's each and every one of you that put this on. This is your event, not mine, not ours. This is yours, the people. So much love to you. Give yourself a round of applause. Again, just one more time for me while I'm up here, because you should see it. You see people as far as you can. Just, Sydney, make some noise! Woo!
Seriously, for a split second, I was looking up at the Sydney Point Tower, and those cables were shaking. Well done. Well done. Gotta get some engineers over there. Check if they're vaccinated first, make sure that's all right. Up next is a person who was a former detective in the police force. Somebody who walked away from it all because she wanted to speak the truth. She wanted to voice her opinion, and she wanted to help as much as possible. I'd like you all to put your hands together for an absolutely, not just on the outside beautiful, but on the inside beautiful. Just like all of you. Evelyn, where is it? I've lost the name. Evelyn Ray!
Thank you, everyone. My goodness. We came here today. We're seriously communicating to the government that they can't keep us out. They can't keep locking us up. We came in the rain. I don't know about you guys, but that escalator from the car park, I'm like, they did that deliberately, but we walked it still. We're here. We've had enough. We have been bullied. We have been threatened. We've been deprived of our basic freedoms, and I am so proud to be a part of you all today. They told us that we were small. They told us that we were insignificant. They told us that we were conspiracy theorists, nut jobs. But we are not. We are proof that we are everyday Australians fighting the good fight. When did freedom become a controversial topic? I mean, when did it become extremist to want freedom for you and your children? It's insane. Our politicians, and sadly, some of our fellow Australians, seem to forget that our freedoms are not given by the state. The state exists to protect and secure our freedoms. And first and foremost, from the very things, historically speaking, that pose the biggest threat to those freedoms, which is the state itself. Yet in today, most of our politicians think they can hold our freedoms ransom over us, that we have to earn them back. How backwards is that? Freedom is not a human reward. Humanism is something that they can give us back breadcrumb by breadcrumb. It's something that God gives us the moment that we're born as a human being. For far too long, the government has done this by convincing most Australians until now, most Australians, that the state is the highest throne and the highest authority in this country. But we know better. That is the definition of tyranny. When we remove God over our government, then our freedoms go from God-given rights to state-sanctioned privileges. And they can then take that and give it as much as they want, which is wrong. No jab, no job. You can't go and see your dying loved one. You're not allowed to eat here. You're not allowed to shop here. Your kids aren't allowed to get educated here. Your kids can't even play sport. That's what they're telling us. That is tyranny. When the state is not restrained by a law greater than itself, it will become a law unto itself. While ever there is no throne above the government, they will assume the highest authority over us. You know what the greatest threat to tyranny is? The greatest threat to tyranny is a group of people who pledge their allegiance to someone higher than the government. People who pledge their allegiance to something other than a prime minister, or a state premier, or a politician. So today, we need to remind our politicians that we are not their property. We are not the property of the state. That God, not the government, own us. That Christ, not Caesar, owns the people. And that scripture, not the government, not the state, dictate how they behave. God bless you. Follow me at cauldronpool.com, and do not forget that the person sitting on the throne is Jesus, and he is your king, and he will rule over you forever.
You used to laugh at us. Are they nothing? Well, we are now the critical mass and the deciding factor of your downfall. At the end of the day, you are and you will always be no one except somebody that we put you there. And now it's time for you to go. Keep believing in your power, because it can be taken away in a heartbeat.
My body, my choice!
Wow, my goodness me. We have been on this journey for quite some time. We started off with 50 people at a protest, and to stand here today and look out to the crowd honestly makes me want to cry. We do this for our kids. This is why we came to this in the first place. And I know a lot of people now are really waking up because the COVID vaccine is coming for our children, and we know that. Starting from 5 years old, they say, but it's going to get a lot younger than that. And I just want to encourage everybody, if you have just started questioning this because you know the COVID vaccine is coming for your kids, just know that this vaccine war started long ago when they started medically experimenting on First Nations children who did not have a choice, and their parents didn't have a choice either. Today we have 59 vaccine doses on the schedule by the time our children are 15. If you have questioned COVID vaccine coming for our children, question the rest of the vaccines that have already come for our children and are damaging our children today. I need to make a special mention to everybody who is vaccinated, who is standing in this crowd today. I want you to know I see you, and I know that most of you have been coerced and fear-mongered and bullied into this vaccine, and you did not want it. And a lot of you now feel like that you don't belong on either side, but I want to let you know that you are welcome here. Thank you for standing with us, because you dismantle the entire narrative of us versus them. You dismantle the whole narrative of division. We are standing here today, and we need the vaccinated people to stand with us. It's going to take all of us, so thank you. Lastly, I want to say to the parents, get your children away from the predators that are in the system. The predators that thrive on our children being sick, dumb and asleep. We are not raising the next generation of children to be obedient soldiers to the government. We are raising the next children of children who will be warriors, leaders on the front line just like us. There are solutions for communities like us. Start to build your own schools, start to create your own playgroups. know how to grow your own food, and get your family out of a system that is burning to the ground. Start to build your own community. There are solutions for all of us. This is not doom and gloom. This is the example of the new way, and we are doing it together. So please, if you feel aligned, join Freedom Keepers. This is something that my sister and Stevie and I co-founded. We are very passionate about building this community. We are solutions-based. We do not want anyone to feel like they're going to be left behind. And I promise when you step into the energy of solutions and the energy of always figuring it out and finding a way out of nowhere, your courage will always be rewarded for people like us who would rather die on our feet than live on our knees. Thank you.
Actually, I'd give bloody everyone here mouth to mouth. If you told, there's no place else I'd rather be today, but if you told me a year ago I'd be here up on a stage at a rally speaking to people, I'd call BS. I just can't believe we're here, but I'm glad we are, and I'm glad we're standing up. Thank you everyone. Come on, up. Yes. In the last 25 years, I've rescued over 5,000 people and brought 30 people back to life as a lifeguard. I do know a couple of my brothers from the lifeguard service wanted to be here today as well. They may have been here. In the last 10 years, I've shifted from lifeguarding to health and wellness. And, you know, my worlds collide, and when this COVID bullshit happened, I'm like, people die from heart disease, they die from drowning, they die from suicide. It's tragic how many Australians, particularly the males, that are killing themselves every day. And we're shutting the country down for a couple of people with a sniffle. It just doesn't make sense, okay? Like there were some brilliant people earlier, they know all the stuff. I just want freedom of choice. If you want to have the vaccine, go and have it. But leave my kids alone. Leave us alone. And I'm so happy to have some more friends here today, because I've lost a couple lately with some hard truths. But together we can change it. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I'm a father of 8. I'm a grandfather of 23 at last count. And I'm not very happy. And in 2015, when they put the idea out there that they would have no jab, no pay, it woke me up. I thought if they do this to the children, they will eventually come after us, because they negated the constitutional safeguards that had been put in our constitution to protect us against the very thing that's happening today. Yes. I remember when we marched from Town Hall down to Hyde Park here, and people hissed at us, yelled at us and threw things at us in the street. They said we were nutters and weirdos, but I can tell you, when they do away with our constitutional protections, anything can happen. But I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that you're all here, because this is a fight for our life. It's a fight for our children. There's been many very eloquent and good speeches being given here today, and I'm very, very thankful for them all, because we're setting before you people a way out of this rubbish, and you are rising to the challenge. It's our fight. We have reaped, we have sown the wind, we're reaping the whirlwind. We put our trust in the nanny state, and it crept up on us. We gave away our rights incrementally over the years for safety. And safety was the mantra. It became the new god of Australia. And now it's come back to bite us on the rear end. We do not want a safe society. My son, who fought in Afghanistan, he didn't fight for he gave up his safety so that people could have freedom. We have given up our freedom so we can have a perception of safety. We've been sold a pup. We've been sold a lemon. We need to take it back. When I was young, my parents warned me about drug dealers in the street who were using peer pressure to try and sell me drugs. Today it's our government that are using peer pressure to try and sell us drugs. It was a problem back then, it's a problem now. At the Informed Medical Options Party, we see the problem, we saw the problem, and we're here to fight the problem. We're on your side. We love Australia, we love the Constitution, we love freedom, and we will give our hearts, our lives and our souls. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Good afternoon, Sydney. Now let's get ready to rumble! But before we do, bow your heads. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In 1776, a group of North American colonists penned the following words. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. These are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And governments are formed with the consent of the people to deliver those. And when those governments become destructive to the ends of the people, then the people have the right to alter or abolish that government. We, 250-something years later, are in a bad place because we handed over our authority, our sovereignty, our lives, our money and our children to bad governments. That is now at an end. But we have to step up. We must lead ourselves because the leadership of every organ of state is utterly corrupted. And that opens up a job for every one of you, every one of us. We must lead ourselves, we must lead our families, we must lead our unions, our businesses, our communities, our towns, our cities, our states, and finally, we must lead the country. To do this, each and every one of you must step forward first. That's what leaders do. They go first. Now, the first one through the door gets a blood nose. That's standard. And every digger knows that. But every one of us must now step forward. From today, no more masks. No QR codes. And no more vaccines. Now those opening lines of the Declaration of Independence are beautiful, but they mean nothing without the last lines. And I'll leave you with this. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honour. That is how we win. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Australia. This is your captain speaking. I'd like to introduce you to my first officer this afternoon, my beautiful wife, Michelle. She's the best co-pilot I ever had. In fact, she's captain all the time and I'm just her co-pilot. You know, what do you say? Welcome to Australia, Australia. And I don't do rallies on a Saturday because I'm a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. And Saturday is our day of worship. Saturday is our Holy Sabbath day. But I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I looked at the state of this country and I asked God, what should I do? He said, go to Sydney, that's your church. Thank you for being my church. Thank you! I want to tell you a story
about another Seventh-day Adventist Christian. He was an American, a young man from the Midwest, a slightly built, insipid young man who came from a rough childhood, just like me. And when war came and the Japanese invaded Pearl Harbor, he said, I have to go and fight, but I cannot hold arms. So he joined the army in the hope that he would become a combat medic. And the army put him through drill. And one day they said to him, you've got to do KP duty this Saturday. And he said, I can't do that. That's the day of the Lord my God. And this is the day of the Lord my God. And he said, I can't do it. And so they punished him and punished him and punished him. He was made look like a fool in front of his combat unit. And when they had to go and collect their rifles and do rifle drill, he said, I will not hold a firearm. The drill sergeant called him out as a coward and told him that he didn't have a place in that company. But he persisted. He said, I will not leave. And the commanding officer said, we'll give you a Section 8 and kick you out. He said, I will not leave. And they beat him up every night and they locked him in the stockade when he was meant to go to be with his beautiful bride to be and get married. And then there was a court-martial, and the court-martial said to this guy, you have to leave the army. He said, I will not leave. And they said to him, what do you want to do? He said, I want to be a combat medic. If this world is so screwed up and so torn apart, would it hurt if a few of us tried to put it back together again? And they said to him, all right, on your head there. So he never held a weapon. They gave him a first aid kit and a helmet with a red cross on it, and they sent him to Okinawa. That man's name was Desmond Doss. And Desmond Doss was sent with his unit to reinforce Hacksaw Ridge. You've seen the movie, Hacksaw Ridge. They climbed 150 feet up rope ladders to reinforce a unit up there that had been tortured and decimated by Japanese defending their homeland, like we are now. And when they got up the top, they saw unspeakable horror, and they were met with withering fire. And as men were falling, riddled with bullets and blown to pieces, Desmond went to every one of them and he injected them with morphine and he covered them with sand. And they said, Desmond, don't let me go. Don't let me leave, don't leave me here. And he said, don't worry, I'll come back for you. And that afternoon they were really badly defeated and they had to retreat and go back down the cliff face. And when they got to the bottom they said, where's Desmond? And they said, he's still up there. And that night when it got dark he went out to one of the first guys that he buried, he dug him up and he dragged him back to the edge of the cliff and he tied a rope around his shoulders and he lowered him to the ground. And medics were waiting at the bottom and they took this guy to the aid station. They said, how did this guy get down? They said, it must be Doss. That night, he lowered 75 men to the ground. 75 men. Japanese and American. And he had no skin left on his hands. And he was exhausted. And as he was lying there wondering if he'd got them all, he looked at God and he said, God, just one more. Just one more. And he went back and he found another. Desmond Doss was awarded the highest medal for bravery in the world, the Congressional Medal of Honor. And he never held a rifle. And he was a conscientious objector, just like you. Just like you. I dare to be Desmond. I want you to dare to be Desmond. Give me a cry out if you'll be Desmond with me. Just one more. 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 You know what that means? That means we won't leave anyone behind. That's what that means. And they're coming for our kids. And they're not going to get our kids. Now I'm really, really happy and proud to be an ambassador for a wonderful group that just started up. They launched their website about 36 hours ago. They've had nearly 200,000 hits already. And it's Parents with Questions. Do you have any questions? Do you want those questions answered? Do you remember when a lady stuck a needle in a strawberry in the supermarket, and when none of us ate strawberries forever? Do you remember that? Are we going to let them stick a needle in our children? If they come for our children, they have to come through us. And if they come for our original sovereign people, they have to come through us. I serve God first. I serve Michelle and my children second. And I served Australia third. And I spoke to a friend of mine who's a pilot with Qantas the other day, who said, I couldn't hold out anymore, Hoodie, I hope you can forgive me. And I said, of course, it's not about whether you've been jabbed or not. And it isn't. It's about freedom. We're not anti-vaxxers. But I said to him, how did you feel when you had it? He said, I felt like I was raped. What does that make the board of Qantas and the corporations and the governments who are coercing us? Rapists. And they've lowered the age of consent in Australia to 12. 12 years old. There are two documents that this country demands to see, Prime Minister. The first one is the contract you signed with Pfizer. What have you given away to these mongrels? We demand to see it. And the second one is we want the full transcript of the Woods Royal Commission, because we want to know who we're dealing with. We want to know who's in control. We want to know, because I'm telling you, you're not. We are. We are. Also launching in a couple of days' time, in fact probably now, is a wonderful website with amazing Australians and international celebrities on it. It's called voicesforchoices.life. You will be amazed. You will see hundreds of celebrities from around the world gradually sharing their story and speaking out. And I've been Zooming with them for weeks, and they are incredible Australians, and you love them all, and your kids love them all, and they're going to stand up and they're saying, not our kids. I want to shout out to all the Hoodies helpers. Are there any Hoodies helpers out there? Hoodies helpers is helping thousands of people. There's a branch starting up in the UK this week. Hoodies helpers is an amazing group, but I've really discovered one thing. Men in Australia have gone missing. Men in Australia have gone missing, and the women have had to carry the can. The women have had to carry the can. So it's time. So I'll be working on setting up a group called Hoodies Heroes, and it's about getting men back into their rightful role, where women feel safe and protected, and so do their children. Men, it's time to stand up. It's time to stand up. It's time to reclaim the line, it's time to hold the line, and it's time to kick these mongrels out. They collected the crippled, the wounded and maimed, and they shipped them back home to Australia. The armless, the legless, the blind and insane, all the brave wounded heroes of Suvla. And as the ship pulled into Circular Quay, I stared at the place where my legs used to be. I thank Christ there was nobody waiting for me to grieve and to moan and to pity. And the band played Waltzing Matilda as they carried us down the gangway. Nobody cheered, they just stood there and stared, and then turned their faces away. And now every April I sit on my porch and I watch the parade pass before me. I see my old comrades, how proudly they march, reliving old dreams and past glories. But the old men march slowly, their bones stiff and sore. They're tired old men from a tired old war. And the young Aussies ask, what are they marching for? And I ask myself the same question. And the band played Waltzing Matilda, and the old men, they answered the call. And year after year those old men disappear. Soon no one will march there at all. Waltzing Matilda, Waltzing Matilda, you come a waltzing Matilda with me. Come a waltzing Matilda with me. Since I started this journey in September, I've stood in the trenches with some incredible people. John Larder's one of them. And Mac and Alex Cooney, who can't be here. But I stand here for Jesus Christ, and I ask you all to bow your heads in prayer for Jesus. Dear Lord Father in heaven, thank you for dying the worst possible death so a filthy porn addict like me could have a second chance. Thank you for dying so that we could all have a second chance. May you bless this country, may you bless its people, may you protect its children and its sovereign nation. And may you give us the courage to stand united under the cross of Jesus on the hill where we stand with you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. God bless you. Thank you, guys.
Honoured to be here today, standing amongst everyone. As you also said, my name is Mitch Allgood. Previously played rugby league. Throughout my entire rugby league career, I had some huge battles and faced some tough opponents. None greater than the one we Australians are all facing now. But when I look out here today, this is the best team that I've ever been a part of, and I have no doubt we will win this fight. I, like many other Australians, am feeling the impact of these vaccine mandates, and I have been sacked from my job for not receiving this experimental jab. Vaccines are meant to be given voluntarily, without undue pressure, coercion, and manipulation. Is the ultimatum to get the shot or be stood down, not pressure? Is it not coercion when you are told you won't be paid if you refuse an injection? Is rushing people into a procedure without giving them time to make an informed decision, not manipulation? Where there is risk, there must be choice. And I refuse to play Russian roulette with mine or my children's health. I may have had the means to financially provide for my children unfairly taken away from me. But what I will be providing for my children is the example of how to stand strong in your truth. I'll be providing the example of not allowing anyone to bully or manipulate you into going against your beliefs. I'll be providing the example of how to fight for your freedoms and hold the line. We will not comply and we will not back down. With each new mandate comes a new opportunity. An opportunity to create a new way forward. A way that far better serves us than the systems we're leaving behind. It's time to reclaim our power and pave a new way forward for our children. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. I want to share these words with you that really resonated with me. This wind, it's tearing apart old alliances, even long-held friendships, even families. But it's also sweeping people together into new groupings, pushing us together out of necessity, whereupon many of us realise these are the people we should have had in our lives all along. I appreciate everyone here today for standing up, and I am honoured to be standing with you. We are the solution.
And we're awake, and we're not going to stand for that type of government any longer. one that will stand for rights and freedoms and human rights and liberty. I was a cop for 31 years and I served the community very happily. And there's a lot of cops out there today who are in conflict because they've done what they thought was the right thing. They've taken a couple of jabs, keep their jobs, keep food on the table, but now you know what? The third jab's looming. And what follows the third one? The fourth, and then the fifth. When does it stop? It stops when we say no! We say no! We say no! I love you all! Well done for being here! We stand together. When we stand together, this happens for us. If we're standing alone, it happens to us. When God is for us, who can be against us? Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. All right, up next is somebody that, everybody tells you, I listen to science and the doctors are telling me. Well, here's a doctor that's going to tell you something totally different. Okay? Put your hands together for Dr. Kevin Coleman.
Great to be with you this afternoon, Sydney, and it's wonderful to see the Lebanese flag over the corner of my eye, and I give honour to my forebears from Ireland and Lebanon. Look, we've got a great battle on our hands, a battle for our personal integrity, and also a battle for our national integrity and national sovereignty. Our institutions, the medical institutions, federal and state and territory governments are awash with multinational sponsor donation from these multinational corporations, which is distorting biomedical research, medical education and public policy. Nowhere is this more obvious than with the COVID crisis we're currently facing. Now, I don't doubt that there are deaths from COVID, unquestionably. Over 1,000, I believe now. The average age of death in Australia from COVID, about 87. The average age of the male in this country is about 82 at the moment, and females about 83. This is a joke. What's happening at the moment is that we're seeing, every time you turn on the TV, the propaganda being rammed up, and it is propaganda. So it's pushing up the fear factor and the addictions. Have another beer, put a bit more pig on your fork, etc., etc. The battle we have from a health point of view in this country, and they're not talking about health, they're trying to sell a vaccine. The battle we have is that over generations we've ignored the lifestyle issues that are affecting many of us, and the battle that we're going to wage for our health is in the kitchen. The way forward for our health is an unprocessed, plant-based diet, salt, oil and sugar free. Okay, wrapping up. 4 years ago, when I protested outside Parliament House, I was hauled off before a medical council and suspended. You can no longer give, your GP can no longer give you informed consent on vaccines. Because if they attempt to give you any informed consent, you can dob them into the Healthcare Complaints Commission and they can be deregistered or suspended by APRA. I was suspended by the Healthcare Complaints Commission, by APRA. And I get a lot of phone calls from colleagues, and the problem is, if they give any hint that they're not in favour of you having this vaccine, on the recommendation of the government authorities, you can dob them into the Healthcare Complaints Commission. So doctors can no longer give you informed consent. They're being manipulated, they're living in fear. If you're a young doctor, and this is doctors, nurses, psychologists, the lot, if you go against the system, you'll be culled. It's not a question of truth, it's a question of power. We've got to speak up together and refuse to be intimidated and insist on informed consent without coercion and without punishment if you decide against it. Let's stand for freedom, Australia.
Thank you, Doctor. Right.
Here we go with another song by Michael St. George. I love that name, Michael St. George. St. George, yes! Alright, the song, Do Not Comply.
Make some noise, Sydney, make some noise! Let's face it, this is a public service announcement. This is a public service announcement designed for critical thinking. Designed for critical thinking. Let's face it, we all have stories unpacking global tragedies. Let's admit, we feel the frail and the elderly, our bodies and its general intel. We feel small businesses, our youth and the promises of truth. We followed ill advice for a few who largely does not represent you. Fecundity is on its way. Children's development requires play. I feel it for those with little resources to cushion this blow, the impact and severity from crumbling states and economies, and the story not done yet, so I power down my phone and packing a few tragedies of my own. The hours grow darker in these ditches of disaster, and a mad rush for a break. The meal tastes worse than the vomit, and the disease seems better than the cure. There's a hole in the mask and a crack in the glass. I do not submit. Let's say there's a hole in the mask and a crack in the glass. I do not submit. Brushes wrench from painter's wrist, attempting to teach without free speech. But let creativity lead, because I see speed and submission to thrones of greed. You say hush, I say give me one reason to trust, because I hear grace and confidence say there is a better way. I do not submit. There's a hole in the mask and a crack in the glass. I do not submit. So call this an attack on the lack of responsible management. How the silos of trend and fear working for you. Geopolitical conquest, how do you do? When the smoke is clear, there'll be less people here. Some people just don't care about protecting and preserving life. There's a hole in the mask and a crack in the glass. I do not submit. Don't lock me down any longer. I'm about to lose my bed. Desperation high, trying hard not to lose my head. So live in this lunacy, this huge appetite for conflict and debt. Live in this lunacy because of some algorithm set. Criminals are victims on trials, vax, pack and vial in a capitalist mecca where improvement doesn't always evidence better. There's a hole in the mask and a crack in the glass. I do not submit. One more time, there's a hole in the mask and a crack in the glass. I do not submit. We're going to leave it there because apparently time is running short. So we're going to leave it there. We're going to wrap up for you. I do not submit.
Thank you, Michael St. George. We're going to finish off. To the police, thank you for your patience. We're going as quickly as we possibly can. We've got a permit and we've got to wrap this up. They've done a fantastic job, the police, and we don't want to spoil the end of the day. So big round of applause for the police. Thank you very much. Right, we're going to finish off last. We've got the Father Dave, who's just going to give us a quick prayer to bless this occasion and bless you all. We'll go from there.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in nome del Padre, Filii et Spiritus Sancti, and with respect for the traditional owners of this land, the Gadigal people, and elders past, present, and emerging, sisters, brothers, this is our time. This is our time. In the New Testament, there are two words for time. There's time like what's the time, and there's time like this time. Our time. The time to take back our country. The time to make history. I
I wasn't old enough to be part of the Indian independence movement under Mahatma Gandhi. I wasn't old enough to be part of the civil rights movement under Martin Luther King. But I am privileged, and we are privileged, to be part of this time when we can take back our country and provide a better future for our children. This is our time, and we are the people that we have been waiting for. God bless us, God strengthen us, God give us freedom in the name of the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. Inshallah, freedom will come, and it will come soon. God bless you all.
Thank you, Father Dave. Now we've got Dwayne and the First Nations presentation. Yes. Uncle Max. Luke, do what you got to do, boys. Guys, before we start, this is the closing ceremony. Please pay respect. Let's show some true respect. These are our people. Behind them, we will win. Thank you, Uncle Max. Thank you.
Just briefly, folks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My grandson is gonna sing a song. My two great grandchildren are down there. 5 generations. And we want to keep going. That's why I'm fighting this vaccine. My 2 little great-grannies. And folks, I want to live to be 100. I'm not quite there, but I've probably got about 15 years or something, 10 years, don't know. I just live just a day at a time. And that brought me through this crisis. That brought me through this crisis of keeping my culture alive. Keeping my culture alive, living it. Not just talking about it, but doing what I can do about culture. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you for hitting that magic million mark today. I'm getting old, I'm deaf, I never heard this. That's what we need. That's what we need. Grandson, take it away.